What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
What's good, everyone? It's Marcus or Pink.
What up, everyone? It's Charles or Chuck.
And what's up, everyone? It's Matt or Haz. I don't know if that was because we're all so fucking tired from Summit, and then also two of us traveling to Hawaii, and the other two traveling back to the other side of the USA. But holy fuck, I forgot how tiring, how exhausting it is to be at Summit. It's the best experience ever in Smash, but once I hit the plane and I sat down in my seat, I was like, I am so fucking wiped out. Holy shit.
I'm physically tired. Like physically sore. Just doing so much, walking around so much, traveling to Hawaii afterwards. Like it's just a lot.
Yeah, and even when you think about it too, media day is on Wednesday, so everyone traveling has
left
to fly Tuesday, right? And then
coast to
when
coast.
You leave, you fly out Monday. So it is literally, if you count the 2 days of flying, just a whole week long experience. 7 days.
It really is, man. And the whole thing with it too is kind of like when you're at a tournament, and this is also like a part of what makes Summit so special, right? Because when you go to Summit, when you lock in for media day, you're at the studio the entire day. So that's, what was it, 9 until 9, basically, Charles? Like 12-hour days or 10-hour days, basically, every single day. And most people are streaming, hanging out, playing Smash, but it's like your social battery doesn't get a fucking chance to reset because after the 9 p.m. call time ends for being at the studio, we obviously went and hung out in each other's hotel rooms and played more friendlies. And then we went out, we saw John Wick, actually. Like we were always social the entire time. Like it truly is like a 14 or 15-hour day every day of being social. So like by the time I was like just done talking to people and like on the plane, I was like, I am just it doesn't hit you until you're gone. So,
and to be pretty blunt, like I'm not the most, like obviously I know all of you and I love all of you, but I'm not the most social person on the planet. I have my limits. And like you said, it's not like you just play your matches and go back to your room. It's 9 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. It's a full thing, but it's also a beautiful experience though. Like it's not like we regret it or anything. It's just a busy week.
Yeah, and from me going from like watching all the time to, this be my first Summit, which also thank all of you that helped me get there.
I was so glad you were there, Marcus. So
thank you. That was amazing.
It was like way different because when you're watching at home, there's like a break after every match. You know what I mean? There's like, match break, or maybe 2 matches, then a break or something like that. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, watching. All right, time to get up and like I can go somewhere, do something else. Like it's just like a bunch of different breaks. And but when you're there in person, you're like, oh, there is actually no break. Like this is just like 12 hours of practicing. You eat twice while you're there, and then the rest of it's practicing, streaming, like talking to everybody else, watching the matches, studying, like all the different things you do as a competitor. It's brutal. By like day 2, I was like, I don't know if I can make it, bro. This is tough. Like I started coming to the venue at like 1 p.m. Like it was too much because as commentators, and this is something that was really interesting to me, commentators and players have to get there earlier than everyone else. So they had to wake up to leave, or so they were leaving around like 9 o'clock, like 9 a.m. to get there.
We had to be there by 9. So I was usually waking up around 7:30.
Right. And like we couldn't even get there where you could, but it was like suggested that the VIPs got there a little later, like 10:30 or so. So like just that is like a couple hour difference of when they have to wake up and they're working the whole time. I felt so bad for y'all at some point. I was like, geez, man, like these days are so long. But it was really a great experience. I'm kind of sad that it's the last one, or like I'm extremely sad, but I'm kind of sad that I never pushed myself to try to go before this one, But it was truly a great experience, helping, like talking to Gavin through all his matches and like spectating that, and then like seeing Void's return, and like that was really cool because we roomed together, and just talking to him about how he felt about the weekend, and then obviously hanging out with everyone that was there. It was truly like an experience I'll never forget, and I really wish I took more pictures. Like
Yeah, I always say that about everything I do. I'm not like
Yes.
a picture or video guy.
I
My,
wasn't, but I feel like now that I'm like starting to think about like what I'll tell my kid like
Yeah.
about me, like I kind of wish I had this picture be like, hey, like this was the thing like way back when, when they're like 20 or 30 or whatever. Like this is what I did when I was around
Yeah.
this age, so I
yeah.
don't know, kind of
You got
sucks.
those. You got those 2 pictures of me and you where you're just frowning and holding a drink, so that's pretty good.
Yep. They were like, what were you drinking? Lemonade. True.
Yeah.
Unless they're like 25. I'm like, oh, it's a marg.
Yeah. Yeah. After party lemonade, aka Marg. Damn.
Yeah.
The announcement going down for Luminosity, that was crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was trying to like
shit.
going into recording this. I'm trying to think like where do I start because so much has happened. So it's like it's like oh yeah that crazy announcement with me and Leo on Luminosity happened. So there's that. Holy shit!
because you had to
Keeping
land
that a secret
and
was tough,
record,
huh?
right? You had to
Yeah.
record for that. During,
Yeah.
what was it?
Yeah,
Media
so
Day?
I flew in Tuesday and went to Luminosity's HQ to do that. So I even had a little bit of an extra thing going on there. Yeah, it was a big announcement. It was a great way to like start off the player intros, and the way I see the Luminosity partnership is Smash has been going through like a lot of like just downwards like trajectory, and it felt like me and Leo not only getting a new sponsor but being on the same team is like a really nice like spark to the community, and I was hoping that would be the reaction, like more excitement rather than like just rough things going on. And I feel like it went really well, so I'm excited for the future with Luminosity, and maybe even doing doubles with Leo. Meister's on the team as well. There's a lot of potential, I think.
Oh yeah, and there's also a little bit of grim news. Obviously, Light not being able to make it out to
Yeah,
Ultimate
I did want to
76.
talk about that too.
Yeah, that really sucked. I mean, we love hanging out with Light throughout the whole entire weekend for the most part. So just not being able to hang out with him and obviously watching him play, he brings a whole another character into the fray that no one else plays at that level, right? So
Yeah.
just very
Bro.
unique in that sense.
That was a huge L, obviously. Personality and playstyle wise, like no one can replace Light, but I think we got as close to second place as we could get in terms of a unique character, fucking hype playstyle, amazing personality, and for him, obviously, I'm talking about Skyjay, by the way, and for
I
him,
thought you were talking about Big D.
oh well, dude,
At
yeah,
first.
right. Hey,
Yeah.
we got a couple of those, right?
Yeah,
ApolloKage too, great personality, and a snake at that level. I mean, this tournament really did show off all of those guys in such a great way.
Yes.
And Skyjay, Light has been there and proven himself time and time again. He never won a summit, which breaks my fucking heart because he obviously is one of those people that could have. And I love Light as a player and as a person. But giving Skyjay another chance to shine after his run at Collision was so fucking deserved and so awesome. He even won the run back against Riddles, like kind of fucking smoked him in that matchup, which is insane. So I was very, like I said, no one can replace Light and no one can replace his personality, his playstyle, or anything, but we came pretty fucking close with Skyjay, which was really awesome.
Yeah.
Big W on that one.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I was actually really missing Light the whole weekend. He's like, it actually was hitting me to the point where I was actually a little emotional, and I was having a hard time figuring out how I was going to play Summit out because he's like my practice partner for this. It kind of just randomly became a regular thing at tournaments with him and Cosmos. I even reached out to him. I was like, yeah, I'm having a hard time getting into the competitive like mode right now. Like, I don't know what to do when you're not here, like playing and pushing me, because to put it quite honestly, like Light wins more games against me than most people in the world, like in a practice session. Cause, some people have mentioned it, but like when I play friendlies with someone, like I usually do even better than I do in tournaments. And Light will beat my ass and like really get the wheels turning and like the competitive drive started going into a tournament. But I just couldn't get focused for Summit. Like the announcement happened, like there's so much going on. I'm traveling to Hawaii the next week, and like I couldn't get prepared mentally. And we talked a little bit, and yeah, I just missed having him there. There's no one that can replace his play style or play Fox the way he can. His competitiveness is just unrivaled. So I was really missing him a lot, but it ended up being a fantastic event. And a couple things did happen that got me very, very competitively ready and focused and just just ready to fight. So thank you to that situation that happened. And yeah, I ended up being locked in and focused. So
nice. And I mean, even just I guess walk us through your matches, right? You started off with pools. Summit's a very unique event because you jump right into the fray. There's no warming up in pools, right? It's a very different
play the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of go right into it. But then there's some caveats to it too, right? Where it's like, oh well, you're until you get to Gauntlet phase, when you lose, it doesn't necessarily mean you go into losers bracket, right?
Yeah.
So some of the pools matches, obviously, they're still important because you want to go for that top seed, so you don't even have to play through the Gauntlet phase. But you still ended up in the Gauntlet phase, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I actually.
Because Proto won your pool.
This is probably the smoothest groups and Gauntlet has ever gone for me. Because usually I don't win any sets until final bracket or something. It's usually really, really rough for me. Like Charles said, it's unique. And I think a lot of usual household names struggled the weekend too. I think there's always someone that you expect to be like in the final phases of the tournament that just struggles with the environment and just doesn't really get the ball rolling. Wasn't me this time, which is cool. Usually it's me. I had a weird pool. The seeding was me, Proto, Aaron, Big D, Aaron. So I was the first seed. So my first match was Aaron. So my first match of the last summit ever is a Diddy Ditto. So I'm just I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I feel like that there's a little bit of extra nerves there when you're doing a Ditto. I think it attacks your pride. It attacks your ego a little bit because you're fighting someone that's using the same character as you. And, playing in that situation can kind of hurt your ego because if you lose to your own character, it's like, what can you really say?
And I hate to bring it up, but he did beat you at the last summit in the
exactly.
Before,
I was nervous, and in my opinion, I think throughout the history of Diddy Kong and Ultimate, he always felt like the pinnacle of the Diddy Ditto. I always thought he was the strongest person I played at it, and I feel like a lot of the players I've played at were actually good at it. I think Rivers from my state state of New Jersey is actually really good at it and got me started at being competitively ready for it. And then I think losing to Aaron at Summit 3 really forced me to study up and focus for it. And I actually think I'm really, really good at the Ditto now. And I think it showed where it needed to when I played Aaron this weekend. And Aaron also was playing really shaky. I think Aaron could say the same things about why he would be nervous, like first match, character Ditto, just a rough start. So that's rough that he couldn't really get the ball rolling. But I felt good, and confident that I was able to win that solidly, going into the rest of my matches, because it just got weirder from there. My next match was against Ice Climbers. It doesn't get any weirder than that. And, the best Ice Climbers at that. But my Sephiroth has been more tournament ready and actually playing in tournaments, so I'm not forced to go Diddy. And I was able to beat Big D with Sephiroth the previous encounter. So I just did that. I won 3-1, which usually is just how it goes. I usually win most of the games and have one close call and then finish out the set. It's usually something like that. So we'll see how it goes into the future if we play again. Because obviously it's kind of he has to figure things out, and my game plan is going to be so similar just because it's a sword character versus Ice Climbers. So we'll see how much I have to change or how much we even play each other in the future. So I was happy. I won my 2 matches. I was done for the day or whatever. And I was just studying up for Proto. I took a lot of min notes, talked with Marcus. Marcus gave me some notes. And that was going into Saturday. So I play Proto. I win the first game, and it kind of just gets rough from there. As I was saying, I was really focused on the min, and I ended up getting smoked by the Lucina. It wasn't it wasn't on my radar at all. It's not like I wasn't expecting to play against it. I just expected it to be a classic Diddy Kong versus Sword character scenario where I would just win the matchup. Because it's not like I haven't played versus Lucina. I just haven't played against that. Like that. He's significantly improved since our last Diddy Lucina encounter too. It felt like playing Spargo. It felt like an uphill, like losing battle. It really did, which is crazy. So, and the Min also was really difficult too. I feel like I played really poorly. Like I tried my best to apply the notes, but as it got more nerve wracking, I feel like I strayed from it. And I just felt like my execution wasn't on point compared to the previous day. So not going to lie, I was like fuming. I was really, really angry. I knew that I only had to win one more set to be in winners for the day. And I honestly thought I would be fine. But I was really, really upset, and the only person I wanted to play was Proto. I didn't really care about anything else anymore.
Was he the list?
Yeah, he still is the only person on the list.
Still?
Yes.
Damn.
He's the only person I want to beat still, and I kind of like Acola is kind of someone I want to beat too, but it's not like a angry fire. Like for Proto, I actually just want to beat him more. So yeah, I played Skyjay after that, and Skyjay almost beat me, which is crazy because it's Diddy Kong versus Incineroar. I think Diddy can get banana all the time versus the slowest character in the game, so that means Diddy wins the matchup.
That might have been the match where I was.
Let's just be honest. Huh?
The 3-stock game 5, right?
The 3-stock game 5. Yeah, we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
Before, and yeah.
I was a little nervous for myself going into it because I was playing on my angry side, which I've done a few times in the past, and sometimes it doesn't work out because I am not thinking straight and I'm just playing with rage. But I feel like I tried my best to focus regardless, but I was very angry the entire time. But I ended up winning, and it was like a big game 5 win, and I just viewed it as all right, I just can't lose until I play Proto again. I'm sorry, Skyjay. But yeah, so I ended up winning that. So I was like, okay, at least I'm in winners for the day. I'm so used to the worst case scenario when I'm at Summit going into the final bracket, barely scratching into the winners bracket. But this time I only lost one set. So if anything, it was a big improvement. And then going into Sunday, my first match was ApolloKage. So I think Diddy Kong loses to Snake pretty bad. And I actually think Sephiroth wins the matchup. I actually recently made some matchup charts, so maybe you could see more of that on my YouTube or something if you care. So I went Sephiroth the whole set. I won the first couple games, and I was like, damn, this is going really smoothly. And from there, he started playing better. I think I got complacent a little bit. And I ended up closing it out game 5 though. And if I won that, I was basically going to play the winner of Riddles and Proto. So sorry, Riddles. I was hoping Proto would win and I would win so I could play Proto again. And that Proto set was very, very close. I tried Sephiroth out because I hadn't before, lost that game versus Min. That matchup was really tough. Then did I win Diddy Min after that? I think so.
I think so, yeah.
And
then it was 1-1, then he went Lucina against your Diddy, right?
Then I think I lost. I was down 2-1 versus the Diddy Lucina game 3. Then I won Diddy Min game 4. Then I won Diddy Lucina game 5, and it was just really close. So that was the most tense and exciting set for me.
Interesting.
But going into this moment, it was the most exhausted I felt afterwards. You know what I mean? But
Seth, we interviewed you after that one, right? We on the mic. We told you to come up. We asked you how you're feeling. You're like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But I was really happy that it felt like it was actually a real 50-50 kind of grind with Sephiroth and Diddy from pools to main bracket, up to this point. Going into grand finals, it felt like I was really using both of them in a really reasonable on paper way, and it was efficient. And it felt cool because I feel like most of the time when it comes down to the important moments, I'm usually just a Diddy player, but I feel like my Sephiroth, I've worked so hard on him. Like, I play him so much, I study him so much, I think about playing the game from his perspective so much. Like, and I was honestly like pretty emotional that I was able to like. It felt like I was actually just straight up a Sephiroth player sometimes during such an important moment, and like, I'm sure some people can understand, but like, playing that character is like unlike playing like pretty much any character in Ultimate. It is so hard, and it's for like really weird, vague reasons. It's a lot of the time it's not always about what's on the screen. Like, there's so many times where you can't press anything. He can be so it's like he's from Brawl. Like, it's like he's not Ultimate, and he's like not even Smash 4. Like, he's so difficult. And I'm just glad I was able to get as far as I could. I ended up playing Big D in Winners Finals, and it's like, what? He's in Winners Finals with Ice Climbers of like the hardest thing ever. Like, on paper, fantastic. I wasn't feeling nervous. It was more so like, this is really weird, and he is incredible for getting here. And even the matches were really close, like Sephiroth, Ice Climbers, and he's still like, afterwards, like Marcus and Cosmos was talking to me, like they're what's up, like what's going on, like, and I'm like, no, like he's just the best player in the world. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't care about this matchup thing anymore. I know it's Sephiroth favored, but bro, I'm exhausted. And then grand finals was Acola. I had never played Acola with Sephiroth before, so I was excited. It felt like a good way to end the tournament. Like someone I hadn't played this weekend. And I almost did it, man. And like every time I've ever played Acola, it feels like I almost do it, and he just adapts really fast, and he just changes play styles really fast, and just moves the goalpost. Like, he can make it like ungraspable, I guess. And it's insane. But yeah, I could have played a lot better. I actually think I played pretty poorly overall, but that's fine. Such a long week. And like, the harder it got, like the farther, the win was, especially once you reset the bracket. I was only able to win one game instead of two games. Like, he was just pulling away slowly. And it's exhausting fighting that character. But, after thinking for a while, like, traveling to Hawaii, like I've been here for a little bit, like I haven't been playing Smash, just thinking about everything. Like, it's really cool that he won. Like, congrats, like young kid, like final summit, like someone that hasn't won summit before. And you can tell that he's passionate and he's working hard. Like, he's a quiet kid. Just a cool victory, like to wrap it up. Regardless of like, Steve or character stuff, like, or matchup stuff, like, a new champion is a new champion, and that's always interesting. So congrats to you, Acola. And that was my run. It was a fun one. It was exhausting. It was, both characters. And I was even saying before we were recording, like, kind of just like being a little arrogant, saying like, I'm just proud of my Sephiroth. Because it's been a really hard journey with that character. But it's really cool to feel like he's at least somewhat caught up to Diddy, and he can fight the fights that usually only Diddy could. And of course, I'm happy to be a Diddy player too. Like, they're just the two coolest characters in the game, no contest. So sorry if I talked too much, but that's pretty much it.
No, you didn't. But I think you ended on such a good note. Well, first off, Ken and Richter are obviously cooler than those two gyms. Sephiroth, he has a case. Diddy, Jimmy Kong, I don't think so. Here's the thing. Acola's run, like you said, regardless character, all that stuff, for such a young kid, he beat Kurama twice, 3-0'd MKLeo, 3-0'd Gluto, beat Proto in a game 5, which is really fucking hard, lost to Big D, then learned the matchup and 3-0'd him in the same day, and then he beat you twice too. Like, that run is one of the most legendary runs in Smash Ultimate history. Like, it just really is. Like, he's just watching him play and adapt and optimize. It's like Steve has so many broken things about him as a character, and he plays the fundamentals just so well at such a top level. So congrats to Acola. And I think something we talked about on the couch a lot too is that this tournament it feels so different for so many different reasons. Maybe it's because it was the last summit and we were feeling that in some sort of way. Or maybe it was really just that things are becoming different in Ultimate. We're seeing an Incineroar succeed at a top level. We're seeing an Ice Climbers more than succeeded at a top level. We're seeing Mario come back into the meta in a huge way. We saw Leo not hit top 8 twice in a row in 2 weekends for tournaments, which is unfucking believable. Spargo getting 13th at a summit. Like, all this shit is insane. This game is so hard to stay consistent at. And I think, if anything, it's such credit to consistent top players such as Leo and you and Gluto and Light and Spargo and everyone for doing the damn thing every weekend. But I think it just goes to show where we're at in the meta and also how special and how different the tournament format is at Summit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Towards the end, like, the tournament wasn't even over. Like, around, like, when I'm sitting in winners finals or grand finals, like, mentally, like, I know what's happening after the weekend. Like, it's over. Like, there's no summit. Like, this kind of special thing isn't going to happen again. You know, and I was taking a walk trying to mentally get ready into, like, warrior mode, like, ready to play. Like, but I'm, like, emotional and, like, tearing up, like, just outside walking by myself because it's, like, you know, I'm just so grateful for them. Like, they're so kind and, like, passionate and unique. And, like, just thank you for everything. Like, I was at every single Ultimate Summit but one. I was at 5 of these things. Like, I've been around for a long time, and, like, before the tournament was even over, like, I couldn't help but think about it. And even, like, all these players, like, I've known some of them for so long, and sometimes I sit next to them, even if I'm playing with them or not, like, just chatting, like, and I have such an urge to sit them down and like, try to tell them, like, you are amazing. Like, you are incredible at what you do. And it is, like you said, incredible doing this, like, week to week, month to month, like, showing up, doing your thing, like, working hard, like, regardless of all the crazy chaotic things in Ultimate, like, you keep fighting, you keep trying, keep using your characters, like Mudace with Peach, for example. Like, every time I see him, like, I just want to tell him, like, I don't know if, like, I'm sure people are telling him this all the time, but I want to tell him as, like, a fellow competitor for a long time, like, especially because, like, Diddy and Peach are so high maintenance. Like, I want to, like, as a friend, be like, you are doing amazing things, like, and, like, so many players, like, I just like, it's like some of them I don't even know that well, and I just want to be like, I admire what you do, you know what I mean? Like, it's incredible. And just thank you to everyone, the players, the, like, BTS, like, the people watching. Like, you know, I was thinking about, like, saying things like that, like, even on the mic, like, just as a final, like, send off, like just thank you. Like, I've been playing this game for so long, and, like, the true reasoning, right, is, like, I want to show the world, like, my Smash Brothers, you know what I mean? Like, what I think is cool, what I think is interesting and skillful, and, like, my favorite characters and what you can do with them. Like, that's always been the passion behind it. And, like, that passion, you know what's crazy about it? It started in Hawaii with people like Charles and his friends just trying to play Smash and doing cool things in combo videos. And that's all the way in New Jersey, a little kid. I started playing for that reason, and it translates into Smash, and that's why I started.
Well, and it's
crazy. Now I'm in Hawaii for the first time in my life because of Smash. It's crazy.
But full circle, you've been that person for people too, though. You've inspired a lot of people with your play, with, you know, everything that you do to be fucking sick at Smash. Like, that's the coolest.
Bring Blue
it's like it's a chain reaction, right? I think that's what's so cool about, like, just Smash in general, and that goes for the Melee community, that goes for the current Smash community. Current Smash community has gone through multiple games, but even Melee has more time than us and has multiple eras, you know what I mean? Like, pre-doc, post-doc,
even, like,
all the other stuff.
Just looking at Leo in the room, and we're wearing the same jersey. What the heck?
That shit was insane, bro. I knew, not that you leaked it earlier or anything, but I knew that was happening via secret source. And I still fucking got chills, like, still straight up, because I didn't know that you guys were doing, like, a video or any of those things, like, whatever. But when I saw, I was like, I legitimately got chills, and I had an idea of what was going on. So that was very fucking cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, and even Gluto, you want to say hi? We're recording for the podcast.
Gluto's here?
Even this guy's my favorite player because he's working with a character that I love, and he's doing it every tournament. You know what I mean?
What up, Gluto? Bonjour.
And just, like, you know, you can say that for all of them. But yeah, like, I remember when Leo first came to America for some tournaments, like couldn't speak English yet. He's like a little kid. Like I was a teenager at the time, and like it's just crazy how all this starts happening. It's and I think what's so emotional about it is it feels like an ending to a story while like a new story is starting at the same time. So things are happening so fast, so sometimes I can't collect my thoughts, but like it's like there's just so much going on for whether it's like, an ending or a beginning. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's so emotional. I mean BTS has changed so many lives in so many ways, and even when I think about it, the first thing when I heard the news was just thinking about the staff. I mean, for us, it's like we lose a tournament, but for the staff, they're losing their jobs, right? So like the BTS staff is always putting 1,000% effort into every single event they do, whether it's for Ultimate or whether it's for Melee or whether it's for Dota, and they've done TFT, they've done Pokemon. So yeah, man, it's crazy that it's all coming to an end. But I wish the best for the staff, and at the end of the day, it sucks, it's sad, but they left their mark. They truly have left a incredible, legendary mark into the Smash community, into the history books of Smash and many other esports. So to be able to do that and be a part of that, I feel extremely honored.
Yeah, it's like Michelle from BTS, who we've worked with on for a couple of things, including stuff for the podcast. She said it wasn't a job, but a once in a lifetime journey, which I thought that was just the right way to say it. And talking to Coney and all the other casters and everyone after, is that we talk about how special Summit was because it was such a unique tournament format, which is different for competition, but also just as an opportunity to get to know everyone, to understand who they are, where they're from. There's not 1,000, 2,000 people there for the tournament. It's like 20 people, right? And you're there all day. Like we kind of talked about this earlier, where it's like you all show up to the studio together. It's like this thing where we're all in this together. We're all going to have a great time and make this a great experience. And it is a place where, and Cody and I were talking about this, where a lot of like my best friendships in Smash were really developed, and a lot of my friends and best memories from Smash were from BTS and from Summit. Even though I was only there as a commentator twice and once as a VIP, that's where I met like Vish and Chillin. I became very close with them at the first Summit and like just got to know them. People I never would have met otherwise or spent time with otherwise. Probably, who knows, maybe. But it was just that every day it was like Majora's Mask in a way, where it's like, fuck, we're like getting closer to this ending.
Yeah.
But then like it would disappear because we'd all be like casting and playing, and it was so fun. And then the final day came, and when the camera shut off, it was just like, fuck, this shit's over. And it was such a bummer, but it was the best, and then also like the hardest goodbye. So it was beautiful. So thank you. Yeah. Thanks, BTS. I don't know what else to say. There's no real words that can capture what they've done for the scene and for me personally with my friendships and everything in Smash. So it was such a goal for so many people just to be a part of that experience, just to be there because it was so special. So we'll see what happens. We always move on. We always find something as a community. But like Charles said, they left an eternal and great mark on Smash, Melee, and Ultimate, and Dota, and everything else they touched. So
yeah, it was kind of tough when I was standing there, because it was my first time doing the like, oh, the person won the tournament who's Acola, we gotta go like welcome them, right? So I'm sitting there, we're clapping it up, yeah, Acola, woo! This is my first time. I've always seen it on the stream, but this is how it feels to clap it up. Clap, clap, clap. Oh my gosh, Acola. And the victory questions and all this. And then it went from like this like really joyous, like, yeah, victory, to like, oh, this is it. This is the end. Oh, and like, everybody's saying like what BTS has done for them, and like how many summits they've been to, commentating, like all the experiences that they had there. I mean, they truly did do a lot for a lot of people. Like, I even saw someone say something about like you get to learn the players' personalities more. It's just through the skits. Like, but I'm sure the first time like they rolled out a skit. Half the community was probably like, "This is stupid." And the other half was probably like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." But then, like, each summit, you are waiting for the skits. I wonder what it's gonna be this time,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm so excited. Like, who's gonna be in this skit? Like, and you get to learn a lot about players that if you're not following them on their stream, like think about BTS numbers compared to most players' stream numbers, right? Like summit numbers, you're hitting 50,000 people watching. You know what I mean? Like no like individual Smash streamers hitting that. So you get to like see them on like a grand scale, and they really were able to like build their brands through it. It's just so many like cool things that changing from spectating every summit to being at the summit like helped me experience how people like be chilling together like in between every match was super cool, like how each person like prepares for some of their matches. Like some people like play infinite, right? So they like playing for 10 hours a day. They just play 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 play. All right, time for a break for food. All right, back to playing play play play. AK, that dude plays. Bros every like five. Ping, you want to play? Sure. Like I'm down to play, right? Like that dude is a grinder. Riddles is a grinder. Like you almost always see them like playing, right? And then there's other people who like I'm gonna throw him under the bus. Sometimes, most of the time, Gavin don't be playing. He just be chilling. But he did say at during the event, which was really interesting. He was like, I think it was like day 2 or 3. He was like, "Man, I miss light. Like, I don't feel like playing." And I know he mentioned that earlier in the podcast, but he like actually said it out loud. Like, yeah, like I really don't feel like playing anyone here. Like, I don't feel like practicing. Like, light's not here, and I'm not playing. So it could have been that.
Yeah, I just had a hard time. I also, it's not even like that wasn't like a once like an occasional thing. That's usually the case. I don't play as much as you would think when it's outside of the tournament. I play every day, obviously. But a lot of like I meditate every day of competing. I exercise. Um I do a lot of that.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
my
like
nephew in the background. Shout out to my nephew Haku.
so it's like it was super super cool to like just talk to Gavin in between matches, and he's a little different, right? So like he's like, all right, I'll be back in 10 minutes, gotta go meditate. Like we're talking out game plans versus certain characters. Like Big D, we're talking about like certain angles in which things were happening and like what he should be doing in certain positions. Like how Ice Climber is a little more grounded, so that's why y'all been, why is he down smashing so much? Now y'all know, like, right? Like so there's a lot of like things that with him, it's not so much about like playing versus people to warm up. It's like, okay, is my execution good? I'm gonna go in training mode, practice for a little bit. All right, I'm good. Time to go meditate, get my mind ready. Because Gavin's usually biggest issue is like his mental, right? So it's like preparing his mental. Other people like Riddles, they need their execution to be on point. So they're gonna play all day. Because if you drop in Kazuya combos, see ya, like you're losing. You know what I mean? Like so it's different for everyone. And that was really cool to see in just people on their stream, like all the different like fun side events that they were having. I don't know. It was like strange in a way because I'm so used to let's go Mars. Um I was so used to going to a tournament, there being 8 million people there. You hang out with your friends for like a couple days and then you go home, right? You get to see like 10 people when they're not playing, when you're not playing, right? But there's so much downtime in between each match. Like if you want to hang out with your friends, you hang out with your friends for like a couple hours, right? Like you get to really like build those relationships and connections, which is what like Charles and Haz were saying, right? Like you're with the same people for like a week. Most people won't even go on vacation with their like friends and family for a week, right? Like you just don't. You get tired of them. You're like,
Right,
bro,
yeah.
I'm over these people, man. Like, so it was super cool. It was a great experience for me personally. It was really strange because I was helping a lot of people practice because Proto was there and everyone would play against Mimin, and I was playing people, and I was doing really well versus most people, and like I don't know, for some reason I just didn't expect that. Like, it was just some of the best players in the world. And I'm like positive on a lot of them when we're playing, and I get it. Like, I play Mimin, not everyone's super good at the matchup. But also, like, I've like felt like I finally was giving myself some credit. Like, I get that not everyone's good at the matchup, but some of the people I was talking to, they would be like, "Oh, you want to play?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And they're like, "Oh, I think that like my character does really well in this matchup." And then I would play them, and they're like, "What?" they're like struggling to take games, right? And they're like, "Man, I like destroy this other person in the matchup who's like, you know, really good or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, well, you know, they're like supposed to be really good. Like, how good am I?" You know? And I had that like question like burning in my head all weekend, like, how good am I? And like, but then I like had this weird thing where like, how good am I? Except I'm married and about to have a kid. Like, you know, like, it's like, what's next for me was like what was really like burning through my head. And a lot of times when I was saying goodbye to people, I was like, you know, like saying bye to like Mars and like everyone here, I was like, you know, bye. And I don't know when the next time I see you is going to be, you know, because kids in 2 months. Oh man, Gavin, come on. Yeah, I don't know the next time I'm going to see you, you know, like kid in 2 months, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be a year. So it's kind of like tough, like thinking about that. But then, you know, what's been burning in my head today? It's all good. Yoshidora can do it. He can do it. I got it. It's
God
all
damn it,
good.
dude.
American Yoshidora. It's all good. So yeah, that's been where I've been mostly. So I'm actually really glad I went to Summit, because I don't think I would have come to that realization without that. Like, oh, this is like kind of my last hurrah for a little bit. But also, there are people in the world that are married with kids, with a job, that can perform at literally the highest level. Like, that's like one of the best players in Japan, which is one of the strongest regions, maybe the strongest region in the world. And like, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be necessarily the best player or whatever, but I can continue doing something that I love, right? That like have been doing for 15 years, right? So that was like super cool to come to that realization.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this week was one of the most emotional roller coasters for everyone, right? In terms of highs and lows, it's like, oh my God, it's Summit. This, tournament's amazing. Holy shit. But then it's the last one. So it's like, you go in with the mentality of let's go out with the bang. But at the end of the day, once the bang is over, it's like the whole week just felt like just bouncing back and forth between high and low emotions. That's what it felt like for me. Some mornings I'd be super grumpy and I'm like, why am I grumpy? Or even at night I'll be grumpy for some reason. Maybe I'm exhausted, or maybe I'm just like salty from friendlies. But there's also a combination of just like me being salty at the fact that this is the last one, right? And just like salty / like sad about it and stuff. So I felt like it was again just an emotional roller coaster for everyone.
There's
Right?
never
Extreme
gonna be
highs,
another.
extreme lows.
Sorry, there's never gonna be another Mafia throw like that in existence. It'll
True,
never
yeah.
happen again.
God.
I could only take so much, dude. I could only take so
Holy
much.
shit. It's literally
I-
your banner picture on Twitter now.
Yeah. That was.
Holy fuck.
I love AK, and it's funny. You were talking about AK wanting to grind. He came up to me and asked me to play friendlies. There's not like Gavin will do it because we just play and has and stuff. But like for the most part, other top players will not come up to me and ask me to grind. But AK did, and I was like,
Yep.
oh shit. And we were talking about like the Fox matchup and stuff like that. So AK was definitely a grinder, but AK also is one of the worst Mafia players I've ever seen. But there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, AK. All right, it's just a game.
There's definitely room for improvement on that. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, the bar is pretty fucking low.
Okay.
All right.
So you were involved in that too. Holy
All right, so AK, if you're ever in that situation again, you could have just voted me off, right? So we could have agreed to vote me off, and I didn't even realize this play when I was there. So this is also part of my bad. But Haz told me later that like there was a guaranteed win if we just voted myself off, and then on the next night, AK fires at Mars because he knows
Gavin
Tweek is
was
town,
confirmed town. Yes.
right? Confirmed town. So I didn't even see that play, but I feel like AK
Come
just
on.
wanted to go out as the anime pro tag, like
Yeah.
Luffy hat on. You know what I mean?
Bro,
Like,
I can't believe he made it to the final second to last night as Vigi. Like that statistically is almost impossible. Like it's really Vigi making it that long and not shooting too. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, to be honest with you. It's insane. Thank God.
I don't know. Like hearing Marcus speak, you almost like I almost cried, but
I didn't get to say bye to you. I was sad.
yeah.
Jim.
I feel bad, but I don't know. I just want to thank y'all for being there, and especially like Marcus, like you said, Proto is in my pool, but we didn't play a single game. But that's because you know me, and instead of that, we just talked. We talked and talked and talked. We talked about situations, what I could do, what I wasn't gonna do. And thank you. You've known me like longer than most people, and in terms of like who knows me and my form of Smash, like you probably know it, better than almost everyone, if not everyone. So thank you. I was really happy you were there because I've been competing a long time. I've had a lot of close, I've always been trying to be the best, and I've suffered like a lot of really tough losses. And y'all have always been there for me and believed in me. And I've even won some of these big tournaments. And just thank you for everyone that's watched. Thank you to Summit. Thank you to this podcast. It's kind of like a fucking weird form of therapy because I haven't cried or got emotional until I start talking about these things. Because, everyone here knows me. I don't talk about myself, or I hold everything in. So this podcast has helped me as a person. It's helped people get to know me. It's helped me figure out how to be a better player in person. So just thank you. And it's like I don't even care about the close loss anymore. I've had so many, and I've improved so much, and I have so much to be grateful for. And it's just, yeah, I don't even know what to say anymore. I didn't expect to do this.
You played great. Dude, you had a fantastic. Well, okay. Whatever that pools day was, you played awful. But and I'm very blunt with Gavin. Like I tell him all the time, like this is actually how our conversations go in person. Like, or if I'm not at the event, I'm messaging him on Discord. Like, bro, you're playing terrible. Or if I see him playing well, I'm like, oh, you're playing really well. Or maybe a certain character's playing really well. So I'm like, oh, like this character's playing really well today. Like I see that's playing really well. So, yeah, I think you did fantastic all weekend. Acola played very well in the end. I mean, it was like one of those things. It was really cool to see because it was like, you're going through Summit and you beat Proto, which is like a huge win, and then you're in winners finals and you have to play Big D and you beat him already, and it's kind of like, all right, did Big D adapt? And it's like, how much can Big D overcome this matchup, which is incredible. And then like you're incredible at the game, right? And then you're sitting there like, and there's not that many people left in the tournament, and it's either, hey, I'm playing, hopefully I play Proto in Grands, or I play Acola in Grands. Like I feel like at some point you got to that point because it's just like I need to beat these people for it to feel like I won the last Summit. Like I really like went out this way, like boom, we got the dub. And like you go up to play Acola, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is it. Like you win or lose, like we'll see what happens. And then you played fantastic. Like I know you're really hard on yourself. You're like, oh man, like I didn't do certain things, but like I think you played really well. I think Acola played really well. It's like a fantastic Grands to watch. Like some of the adaptations he made on like a lot of your timings, like even with pairing, or like he started doing dash attacks on like certain things. I was like, the kid is aware. Like that's the thing. Like I don't like how much people bash him because he's very aware of what's happening in the game. I get it. He's on Steve, right? Like the character is insane. But he is also insane at the game. Like when you're playing him, you can see like if once you get to a certain level, you can see what's happening and like the cogwheels in his brain just turning. Like, oh, okay, this is a situation. I'm gonna approach it this way, like slightly differently, and it happens over and over and over. And yes, Steve can like it's part of the reason he can make that many adjustments, but also like he's just that good. So like you played very, very well. Some of those games you started out getting 0 to death and you kept it close, right? They went to last hit. Like I think you did like fantastic, and it was really cool to see. And yeah, like I'm glad I was there to help you as much as I could, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Like even over the years, like Charles was an official coach of mine, like, and I've just, I've sacrificed a lot for the game, and like my goal has always been to be the best. And sometimes when things don't go well, like, I get really negative, like, was this worth it? Like, and I'm not to get too into it, but like, I have my own like personal issues. So I've sacrificed a lot. I've sacrificed being with friends and family. I've sacrificed, my own mind and body for Smash. And it's cool to suffer such a devastating loss and still feel grateful and still feel like it. This is worth it. And I have like you guys to thank for that, and also everyone watching, and just so many people. And yeah.
Well,
that's good stuff. Yeah, I don't really know where to take the conversation from here, but
it's hard to follow up on that one. But I think we've been going good in terms of just the Smash community in general. I don't think this is the end of Smash by no means. We've lost a very big part of Smash, absolutely, and we deeply appreciate that. So from everyone on the Tweek Talks podcast, we love you, BTS. Thank you for everything you've done for the Smash community. And I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and end it.
True.
See ya.
see ya.
See ya.
Thank you.